Club. Y'all know what time here on Facebook Live, here on Instagram. Hey, man, black folk do read. And they be showing up. I'm telling you, they be showing up, man. You know what time it is, guys. Mr. DJ. Let me find it first. Let me find you, Mr. DJ, because you don't hear it from me. Mr. DJ, man, hit that music.
New Black Wall Street Book Club. Evan Jefferson, brother, much love. Educating, elevating, because in knowledge is the power and we'll never give it up.
All right.
Literature's for how to watch your assets. Yeah, uplifting others is a passion. My brother Evan, he will turn it into action. New Black Wall Street Book Club. You should come read with us. Yeah, we comprehend and discuss. If we all just come together, there's no limit for us. Here comes your host. Take it away. New Black Wall Street Book Club.
Man, New Black Wall Street Book Club. If we all just come together, there's no limit for us. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified financial educator. This is ERGJ Black Bazaar, an international best-selling author of the book is a study of black wealth. That book is a study of the 12 richest black people in the world today and how they built their wealth. When you see you got Oprah, you got Michael on there, pretty soon going to write another book when he hit that billionaire status. But here's the deal, guys. I just truly believe that if you want study wealthy people. And here's the wonderful news that you can begin that study. You can begin your study with a simple book that's about 70 pages long, and you can learn what the wealthy have done. That if they can do it, you can. You want to go to the website www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. Pick up your copy today. You'll find that link in the description above or below. Well, beautiful people, man, we are going to be finishing our book, our meat that we've been reading, which is What Makes Your Great Great. We'll be finishing that book tonight. So we're just doing a replay of what we did on Thursday, but it was so nice, we got to do it twice. And I just want to let you know that we're going to be picking up tomorrow, starting our new book tomorrow, which is going to be Black Fortune. That book up tomorrow, start that book tomorrow on the next episode, which is Black Fortunes. This is a story of Americans to escape slavery and become millionaires. So we're going to read about 6 different individuals. So on our next episode, we'll be getting this book. We'll go through the foreword, go through the prologue, all that good stuff that we're going to do to set us up for success as we get started with that book. But here's the wonderful thing about tonight. Tonight it's all about finishing what you start. Right? Everybody put a guys on finish. Just start. Why start it if you're not going to complete it? So we're going to be finishing What Makes You Great Great. We're going to be finishing that book up here tonight. But first, you know what we got to do, guys? We got to go ahead and get our daily motivation for African American success. That's right, daily motivation for African American success with our appetizer here today. And today's title is The Land and Honey. The Land of Milk and Honey. And she's a conductor. And she says this, and I quote, "I had to cross the line. I was free, but there was no freedom." And says this, and I quote, "I had crossed the line free, but there was no one to welcome me to the land of freedom. I was a stranger in a strange land." Here's our for African American success. Let's read. Harriet Tubman was a woman who devoted her life to helping slaves escape. In her youth, she had been hit on the head. As a result, she suffered dizzy spells for the rest of her life. And at a great risk to her own life, she guided many slaves to freedom. Different today, but just as necessary. It may mean freedom from being a slave to what others think of us. Freedom from jealousy. Freedom from trying to do. We are free to be the very best people we can be. On our Our own freedom can be even more fulfilling when we welcome others enthusiastically into that land of freedom by allowing them the room to be themselves without fear. This is the land of millions. We free one another. In this way, by freeing ourselves, we free one another. Everybody put a console hashtag free. Let me read this again. We are free to be the very best people we can be. Our own freedom can be even more fulfilling when we welcome into that land of freedom by allowing them the room to be themselves without fear or judgment. How many of you are allowing other people to be themselves? See, Oprah says it like this. She says, when people show you who they are, Maya Angelou, when people show you who they are, person is. Once you know how they operate, how they act, once you know how they react, will you allow them the freedom to be? See, too many of us, we're always trying to change other people, but we refuse to change ourselves. Let me say that again for the people in the back. I think the people in the back didn't hear me that time. People try to get them to be how we want them to be, but yet at the same time, we refuse to change ourselves. That's a little backwards. Allow other people the room to be themselves. And then you can choose, hey, do I want to keep on kicking it with them or not? That's how they're going to be. I see how they operate. If I'm going to keep putting myself in that situation or not, that's up to you. Person is. And more than likely, this person ain't changing no time soon. Well, guess what I can change? I can change if I want to be in that company. I can change if I want to be around them. I can change if I want to call them. I can change if I want to pick up the phone. Freedom, allowing others the freedom to be themselves. Now, here's our quote of the day. What's going on, Kate? Dang, I kept you in there for a little while. I said she gonna come around. Here's our message of the day. Our quote of the day. Repeat after me. Oh, here's what you want to allow to take root into your heart, your subconscious, and you allow it to grow and over and over again. Our affirmation today. I'm sorry. Repeat after me. Today, I will free myself by freeing others of my unrealistic expectations of them. Again, today, I will by freeing others of my of them. How many unrealistic expectations of other people? Now, eventually say that these unrealistic expectations are normally the expectations that you don't say, but you think. You think it, but you don't really communicate it, but you have these expectations in your head, but they go unspoken. Again. By freeing others of my unrealistic of them. I can literally free myself of unrealistic expectations of them. Because now guess what? I can just put the expectation on myself. I got an expectation for me. Me, I'm good. Everybody put it down, so I'm good. One more time, guys. For the people in the back, this time say it with some conviction. Today, I will free myself by freeing others of my unrealistic expectations. Your affirmation of the day from Daily Motivation from African American Success. Daily Motivations for African American Success, the land of milk and honey. Well, beautiful people, we want to get right into the meat as we are finishing a great book that we've been reading called What Makes the Great Great. This book is written by Mr. Dennis P. Kimbro, and we're in the last section as we're talking about the greatest story ever told, chapter 9, which is leaving a legacy. And tonight we're going to talk about flying. That's right. It's time to fly. Let's get right into this thing. I'm super excited because we read it last week and then we're going to read it again. And it's like, it's going to really, really change some of your, I'm telling you, because of this book and because of what I've read recently, and my weekend was flying high. How many guys feel like you're flying on cloud nine or above cloud nine? You feel like you're in a whole nother dimension. As you've read along with us, as you've been here as long as you could, as many times as you could, you're starting to see a change happen in your life. Just because you're changing the way you think. And when you change the way that you think, you change your life forever. It's time to fly. I mean, Red Bull gives. It's time to fly. To the German pilots who battled them in the skies over Europe in World War II, they were the Schwarzwogensen, the Black Birdmen. To the comrades and the white pilots who would not fly with them, they were the Red Fighters. But to the crews of the Allied bombers, the black pilots known as the Tuskegee Airmen were heroes and saviors. Flying more than 15,000 sorties and 1,500 missions, the segregated fighter squadron, whose pilots never lost a bomber they were escorting, a record that can be claimed by no other unit. The Tuskegee Airmen, when they were flying, never lost a bomber they were escorting. That can still be claimed by no other unit. Doubtful there would have been any Tuskegee Airmen were it not for the single-minded persistence of and courage of one man. In August of 1940, Charles, arguably the most important figure in black aviation, came to Tuskegee to train pilots. He was the most qualified black pilot of the day. Though he trained countless others on the fundamentals of flight, the first person Anderson taught to fly was himself. Born in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, age of 8, he first took to the skies in 1928. Regarding the kook by blacks and whites alike, Chief could find no one who would teach a black boy to fly. So he hung out at airfields in an openly racist climate. I was eavesdropping on their notes, recording variables and measurements and wind speeds, anything that would help him secure his dream. Everybody put in the console, secure my dream. What's going on, Marquise? Thanks so much for joining. My little brother, man, how you doing? Secure the dream. Everybody put in the comments below. Now, notice this. This is back in 1928. Okay, almost 100 years ago. No one was going to teach this black boy how to fly, but this young brother wanted to fly. Anything that would help him to secure his dream. Now, my question to you is, when it comes to your dream, are you willing to do anything that will help you secure your dream? I would know we're talking about anything within reason, but man, you don't have to deal with someone not teaching you. You just simply might not go. I don't have the time, or I'm too busy. I don't have the money. All these different excuses people are making not to secure their dream. This man couldn't do some of the things that we can do today, but he did whatever was necessary at that time so that he could secure his dream. He wanted to fly. Now, that may not be your dream. But what is your dream? And if you equate your dream to flying, then what are you willing to do so that you can learn how to fly? Other pilots would talk around the hangar about tailspins and 360-degree turns. Anderson remembers. But when I walked up to listen, they would quickly change the subject. So I had to figure out things for myself. How many guys feel like you're in a position where you got to figure out things for yourself? Now, that's not a bad place to be. I mean, it's so much. Sometimes it's even better when you figure it out for yourself. You value it a little bit more when you had to go through all of the work in order to figure it out. You just got to figure it out. Start trying some stuff. Play around. Do something. Other than just sitting there hoping, wishing, praying. Do something and go to work to figure it out. Chief was fearless in tackling assignments that would terrify others. He coached loans out of a few close friends. A $2,500 Valley monocoque on a small private strip near his hometown. In the other, Chief sat nervously in the cockpit of the aircraft, comprising his own safety. This pioneer would attempt his first takeoff and landings alone. Turning the pages of his flight plan, Anderson was clearly in his element. He stared at the controls and recited the code phrases. Fuel, check. Oil pressure, check. Attrometer, check. Tachometer, check. Finally, he was ready. Everybody put in the console, I'm ready. After you did all your learning, after you did all your check, dotting your I's and crossing your T's, you finally are ready. Finally, he was ready. Or at least he thought he was. Anderson sent up a quick prayer, pulled back on the wheel and whispered, I guess it's time to fly. Banking sharply to the right of piney woods and farms in eastern Pennsylvania. And eventually, his aircraft came coasting down by himself. Chief remembers his maiden. I never gave it much thought for blacks to fly, but if you had access to a plane, you could learn. I wanted to do since I was a child. Did it take faith? You bet. Courage? I guess. But I was determined. There's something to be said about a man or woman who is determined to do the thing which it is that they want. It was determined, regardless of how scared he might have been or whatever the case may be. The biggest thing was that he was determined to fly. What is it you're obsessed about? What is it that you want above all other things that you're saying, I am determined to get this. I'm determined to do this. I'm determined to accomplish this. Well, my life is going to be used in this because I'm not that I want it to happen. It's got to happen. And I'm going to do whatever I need, right? I'm going to do anything that I can to make it happen. See, that's what determination does for you, folks. It puts you in a position of making it happen. Some people are a part of it, and they're around it happening. But there's only a few. There is only a few who will make it happen. Words of Anderson's achievement spread, and along with it, his reputation. A commercial license, studying meteorology and engine mechanics on his own. In 1933, Chief and an associate, Dr. Albert Forsyth, made their first showcase flight, a transcontinental jaunt from the Atlantic City to Los Angeles. A trip cross-country effort by blacks was made in a 95 horsepower Fairchild, far from state-of-the-art. The two men did it without navigational instruments. They did it without a radio. They even did it without a parachute. Airborne, they puzzled out their locations with the Rand McNally road map until it blew away. Poor lighting at night forced them to hold a flashlight to the window. Even so, they arrived at a Los Angeles airport in 2.5 days to a mostly black crowd of 2,000 proudly applauding. Now, I see some key words in this. The two key words that I see are even so. Nevertheless, or in other words, you can say regardless of the situation, they arrived. No map, so what? No light, so what? No parachute, so what? Can you imagine? This is 1933. These brothers, they had studied, that wasn't all the best, that wasn't the best, probably the worst of the worst. They gave the blacks the worst stuff, and they made it without navigational instruments, without a radio, without parachutes. Like, if the plane is going down, we're going down with it. Without appropriate lighting the window. But even so, 2.5 days later, they arrived in Los Angeles. Here's my question to you, beautiful people. What's your excuse? What obstacle do you see in front of you as it relates to you securing your dream that you're like, oh, I can't do this because of this? That's what Mr. Anderson could have said. We can't fly across the Atlantic because we don't have no navigational instruments. We don't have a radio. We can't fly to Los Angeles because we don't have parachutes. I mean, we can't fly because we don't have the proper lighting. I mean, we can't. Or he could say, nevertheless. Or he could say, it doesn't matter. Regardless. Why? Because he was determined. And this was his dream. What about you? It's 1933. Almost 100 years ago, 75 years ago. The next year, Forsyth and Anderson, another small plane, christened the Booker T. Washington. The two flyers took off from Miami in November of 19. Their first stop in the Bahamas after dark. No plane had ever landed in Nassau before, so throng surged into the road when they heard an engine in the sky. Anderson made a couple of passes overhead before people realized they had to get out of the way. Then a double wall of cars lined in the main thoroughfare, shining their headlights to the landing strip. Their flight together, enthusiastically reported in the newspapers, dealt the last blow to the United States Army exclusion of blacks from the Air Corps. Within a month, the first training of black military pilots began. The Tuskegee experiment, as the Pentagon referred to the training of black pilots at Alabama, produced a corps dedicated and disciplined flyers who more than held their own in combat. Some had already established professional careers and a few were well-to-do, but all were highly motivated. Burning, all will be held to the highest standards of their mentor and teacher, and only the best of the best would earn their silver wings. It was an experiment designed to fail, Chief says with the sudden tears. The program started with just 12 blacks, shoddy equipment, and absolutely no funding. We were asked to do the impossible. His charges completed. There are some of you that are watching here tonight, and you've been asked to do the impossible. Dream is impossible. You may think that the things that you, in your heart, you want to accomplish, they may. But if you take cues from Mr. Anderson, Chief Anderson, you can complete. Performance is the measure of merit. Performance is the measure of merit. Dr. Frederick Patterson, then president of Tuskegee Institute, tried desperately to persuade the as combat pilots. Though America's armed forces were critically short of pilots when war was looming, and our report concluded that Negroes have neither the intelligence nor the discipline to fly airplanes. Helped dispel that racist sentiment. In March of 1941, she visited Tuskegee while her husband, President Franklin Roosevelt, stricken with polio, rested at Warm Springs, Georgia. When she arrived at Moulton Field, she was going to fly with. Now imagine this. the first lady, the wife, came to Tuskegee to fly with Chief Anderson in 1941. Okay? Now, what this says to me, beautiful people, is that your reputation enters doors that your feet may never step into. There was something about this man and the things that he's accomplished and that he's done that you know how important that life came to see doing his thing, training the boys, trying to get them ready just in case, whatever. You never know what's going to happen. And the president's wife came to see him, a black man, in 1941, and getting to play with him, a black man, in 1941. Man, we got to reconnect. Chief telephones to reach the president so he could talk her out of a foolish stunt. She was going to do what she damn well pleased, Anderson says. An aging photograph of that historic moment shows a smiling Miss Roosevelt sitting behind the self-assured Chief Anderson before takeoff. He took her on a 40-minute aerial tour in his Piper Cub as they talked about a number of things, not the least of which was black pilots. She told me, I've always heard that colored people can't fly, but I see them flying all around here. I'm sure that she went back, she said to the President Franklin, I was there. We've got to do something about letting them. We got word that the program was funded. A scrap of asphalt pinned between and a mosaic of corn and cotton fields. He has been flying for 61 years and has logged more than 57,000 flight hours, second highest in the world. Under his tutelage, many of Black America's best and brightest have met with honor and acclaim. Science and responsibility, says. Second Black to rise to the rank of general in the United States Air Force. Benjamin O. Davis Jr., the first Black to graduate from West Point, couldn't agree more. He says this, to think makes it so. Chief taught us to stand on our own in the face of all opposition. General Davis, remember, in 1990, Anderson was inducted into international society that recognizes those who have made the great in the field of flight. Though he has received hundreds of awards and citations, none was more fitting. His name is now enshrined with the likes of Charles Lindbergh. Influence on countless people whose lives he touched. Let me repeat that again for the people in the back. By believing in them, he's... Well, my brothers and sisters, is it possible that there's someone who's looking up to you right now, and they may not believe in themselves, but by you believing in them, they can start to believe in themselves? Will you lend out your belief? This is what Mr. Anderson did. A brother of devout character and done a lot of stuff, but his biggest part was that he believed in other people, and that helped them to believe in themselves. Who needs your belief today? Who needs your belief today? And I was like, what the hell was this? When I was in middle school, elementary school, high school, and this thing called Black History Month came around, why I ain't never heard about Chief Anderson in Tuskegee Airmen? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, in the annals of Black history, Chief Anderson's place is secure, says Colonel Roosevelt Lewis, a Vietnam veteran and one of his star pupils. But in the realm of achievement, he stands alone at center stage, though ridiculed. He is a living legend. Chief demonstrated that out of simple beginnings, each of us can carve out something glorious. A man of few words. His favorite saying is this: is the measure of marriage. He taught the science of flying, but he instructed us on the art of living. Now, each of us can fly as high as we wish in life as well as the skies. And I believe Chief Anderson fly. Wish in life that you too can fly as you wish in this thing we call life. Mr. This brother crazy. I mean, he has some crazy faith. I mean, to go up in a plane with no parachute, I mean, we wouldn't even do that today. But this brother was determined. He said, man, if I'm going down, I'm going down. If it's my time, it's my time. Man, they done got over from Atlantic City to New York to the Los Angeles in 2.5 days with no, with that's just crazy. Can you imagine? I mean, my goodness. I mean, can you imagine what that plane felt like? I mean, it ain't like riding today. I mean, that was probably one of the most dankiest planes ever, but they got there. Then he got over to Bahamas. He was the first person to ever land in Bahamas and Nassau. Come on now. 1930, 1940. We're in almost 2020, and some of us are still pressed forward to see, read stuff like this. It gets me to the point where I'll be like, I ain't got no excuse. I can't make no more excuse. If this man didn't make no excuse, we ain't had no parachute. This man didn't make no excuse, we ain't had no navigational instruments. This man didn't make no excuse. Then who the hell am I to be making excuses about something so trivial that I ain't gonna get up every day and go to work to secure my dream? This is why we must read. And we must read history to learn the truth about what our brothers and sisters went through and what they came out of, whatever legacy they left. So we can be inspired to leave a legacy of our own. What's your excuse for not doing all that you can? They wouldn't even teach the brother to fly. And at the end of 69 years of flying, 95 years old, he's in the like the Hall of Fame of flying. And they wouldn't teach him to fly when he first wanted to, when he first decided to. He said, get what he said. He just let the school system stop him. Let me guess what? Now I met plenty of brothers and sisters who took that same approach, regardless of what they said, regardless of what they said I was qualified for, regardless of what they said that I could do. Whatever they wrote about me, whatever they said about me, it didn't matter. Because I could take things into my own hands and I could teach myself. See, my mentor taught me this. He said, but self-education will make you a fortune. And I know too many of us who simply won't teach ourselves. See, it's so much easier to complain about what somebody isn't doing for us when we're, guess what? Just like Elijah Muhammad said, just like Louis Farrakhan says, we can what? Do for self. 2019 going to 2020, we got access to everything we want in the world. We can look up whatever we want on Google. We can go to the library. We can see stuff happening all over the world. We got access like we never. So whatever it is that you want to learn, most of the stuff you got to go to YouTube University. What's your excuse? When you got access, like we've never had access before, and you can teach yourself. You can teach yourself how to get out of debt. You can teach yourself how to cook. You can teach yourself. So begs the question, how high will you fly? See, Mr. Anderson said, man, you can fly as high as you wish. Question is, how high will you fly? Future, like a block of pure marble, stands untouched before you. And gifts, you hold the chisel and the mallet. The dramatic story of Chief Anderson's perfect illustration. The world has a right to expect a work of art. You have been given freedom, opportunity, and life. The greatest gift of all. Hammer out. Man, society expects you to be a refining, uplifting force in your community. An inspiration to those trapped by poverty and ignorance. A man or woman of character and distinction. Great advantages bring great responsibilities. Will you shatter the block in an unsightly piece of stone, or will you call out a monument of grace and beauty? A symbol to future generations that will tell the story with eagles. You have been superbly equipped. You have been entrusted with godlike gifts, and you've been commissioned to leave a legacy. Instructions, your hand is on the throttle. How high will you rise? How high will you fly? How high will you fly? What will be said when it's all said and done? What will find our place? We take ourselves so seriously, overreacting to the insignificant events of each passing day. Then finally, even the kindest and the wisest among us, upon our death, all these experiences fade into history. And but when your moment comes, because it surely will, what will be said about you? How will others describe your moment? Did you do your best? Did you scatter flowers as you walked this path? Did you? Did you utilize your talents, those gifts at birth so endowed to you by God Almighty? Did you develop a burning desire that is required of all achievement? Did you stand up for the rights of others against the undesirable influence and threats of enemies? Did you work faithfully to make the best of your opportunities? Did you save your money so that you could pay your way in this world and yet be generous to those in need? Did you allow money to master you? Did you bathe enthusiasm? Did you render more and better service than that which you were paying your fellow human beings without regard to race, creed, or color? Did you forgive those that may have harmed you? Did you accept full respect for failures in your life? Did you seek the seed of triumph in every adversity? Did you share yourself with others without expecting reward or payment in return? Did you know the greatest blessing? Peace. Did you know the greatest obstacle? Ignorance. Did you know the greatest challenge? Understanding. Did you know the greatest race? The human race. Did you know the greatest strength? Faith. Did you know the greatest weakness? Pride. Did you know the thanks? Did you know the greatest among us? Whoever serves. Did you know hope? Did you know the greatest of these? Love. Did you do your best? Did you remember the Great Commission? You've been commissioned to leave a legacy. What will be said about you? About you. What will be said about you? the teacher will appear. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Now, quote from this, I think it's an Indian quote. That the teacher is always ready. Everybody put in comments, so the teacher is always ready. It's incumbent upon the student to come to class. It's incumbent upon the student to come to the workshop. It's incumbent upon the student to get to the seminar. Ready. Teachers are waiting on you. Say, as a teacher, I'm just waiting on the student. I'm just waiting on you. Just waiting on you to get ready. Just waiting on you to join the club. Just waiting on you to come along. The teacher is always ready. But the teachers find themselves waiting on the students to get ready. You're now holding in your hands the keys that will assure your own greatness. Apply all that you have learned. With these ideas, far beyond your fondest dreams. Furthermore, these verses by itself, this message alone can change the world. Just think, society spends its days seeking peace and fulfillment, only to secure limited results. Why? If it is by which humanity could possess peace of mind and gave every individual access to these means. Through life imprisoned in a jail of their own. Then do some go through life they're making. If infinite access, then why do some of us go through life in prison in a jail of our own? The jail of ignorance, the jail of poverty, the jail of fear, when the key that would free them is within their reach. How many guys have been that you're mentoring, someone that is younger than you, that looks up to you, someone that you help, and you see them struggling with stuff? And you're like, in your mind, you're like, don't you realize that the answer to your question, or the answer right there? Do all this stuff, you're like, in your mind, you're just like, it's right there. And I believe that God is saying the same thing to you and I. Like the answer, the solution to the thing is right there. Free and equal. We may not walk through us, but each of us can go to the source of all wealth. Everybody, of all wealth. Jump to life if you are ready to receive them. Now, here's the interesting thing, brothers and sisters. A lot of us will say that I'm ready to receive them. You'll say that. That could be something that you say, but it may not be something that in your disposition you really are ready to receive. Maybe you haven't changed quite enough yet. Maybe you haven't matured quite enough yet. There's a reason why it hasn't come yet. It's not that it wants to stay away from you. It wants you to be ready to receive it. Because sometimes even getting something good when you're not ready to receive can be disastrous for you. The answer to these questions will jump to life if you are ready to receive them. What a blessing it will be if I'm the captain of my soul. But mastery is always a matter of choice. Everybody put it down. So mastery is a matter of choice. You have to choose to master. Just like you have to choose to build wealth. Just like you got to choose to spend less than you earn. Just like you have to choose to save instead of spend. It's a choice. Free will. Mastery is always a matter of choice. Now, many of us have mastered the bad stuff. We know how to tear some stuff up. We know how to eat the bad food. We know how to be broke. We done mastered some things that ain't so good for us. But it's a matter of choice. You can turn that around at any point in time, and you can start mastering the good life. From this day forward, life, will you accept the invitation? I must warn you, it won't be easy. Succeeding there, you will set yourself apart by marching towards your true destiny. When that occurs, you will be poised and instead of confused. You'll be bold instead of timid. You'll begin to explore places where no other man or woman has ever gone before. You'll experience your infinite impossibilities. Answer no, and you may turn your back on your destiny, the rich legacy that life has set aside for you. But you must choose. Are you willing to pay the price and extract the choice and yours alone? And the author ends this book with a poem from Edward A. Guest, and it goes something like this. I think I get it right this time. It goes something like this. We'll read this a couple times. From Edgar A. Guest. Here we go. Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with a trace of a grin on his face. If he were, he hit it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done. Let me repeat that again. I like that. Kind of roll off the tongue a little bit. I'm getting good at it. I'm getting good at this thing. Edgar A. Guest said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with a trace of a grin. Hit it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done. And he did it. What is it, my beautiful people? What is it, kings and queens, that's in your life, that's in your dreams, that's in your aspirations, that's in your goals, that's in your mind, that's in your hopes, that's in your prayers, that you may be saying, or someone else has said, that it can't be done? But specifically, they might have said that you can't do it. But just like Edgar A. said, you buckle right in with a trace of a grin, put a smile on your face. You started to sing as you tackled this thing that everybody else said couldn't be done, but guess what? You did it. And in the process of doing whatever it is commissioned you to do, you have the greatest story ever told. Your legacy. The greatest story to be told is your legacy. This what black folk do read. Extra Great Great by Mr. Dennis K. Kimbro. You put in a book like Daily Motivations for African American Success by Mr. Dennis P. Kimbro, and we absolutely will find it. I'm your host, ERGJ, and we invite you not only to pick up the book, The Black Billionaires Club, which is a book that I wrote, but we also invite you to the website and check us out and make a decision. We just added a new level to the club, and I'll tell you, personal development, which is, you know what I'm saying? You want things to get better for yourself, you got to get better. You want your finances to get better, you got to get better. You want your relationships to get better, you got to get better. Personal development is the number one thing that we need to focus on to have a better life. So we focus on that by doing what? One of the things that we do is read good books. This is our public offering, the New Black Wall Street Book Club, to connect with people who are serious about changing their life. First, how do you do that? By changing the way that you think. You change how you think, you'll change your life forever. So you input good stuff, you get good stuff out. Not only do we have you start, help you to accomplish your goals, help you to start the business if you so wish, help you to accomplish your goals at the end of the day. If you could do it by yourself, it'd already be done. Maybe it's time for you to get some help, right? We focus on what? Financial education to teach you about money, the thing that we know they're not teaching us. Guess what we did? We decided to do. We decided to teach ourselves. That's what we do. We teach ourselves about money. And then we also have investment education to teach you how to make your money work harder for you than you work for it. Second investment club, 30 members, 30 plus members pooled, invested in the stock market together. 2020, we'll be doing the same thing. We'll be investing in real estate together. You can keep trying to do it by yourself, or you can connect with people who at the very least are on the road to prosperity. But I'm not a talker, I'm a walker. And if you're a talker, hey, stay where you are. If you're a walker, join the Black Billionaires Club today. And the first level of membership we have just opened, we give you the opportunity to earn more money. I realize that as I teach people how to make money, first they got to earn some money. So we give you opportunities to make more money. But the key thing is get disciplined to spend less than how much you make if you. So we got to change that. That takes discipline. You got to get around discipline in the Black Billionaires Club. Also on that level, I'll train you. I'll teach you how to make money. I've learned that some people just simply don't know how to make it. They don't know how to earn money on their own, doing for self. We'll teach you that as well. And that's for as low as $10 a month. I want to tell you this, that if you want people to invest in you either, but if you're willing to invest in yourself, then we will invest in you. www.theblackbillionairesclub.com, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. You can find that link in the decision, a financial decision. Well, brothers and sisters, kings and queens, I want to say thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode, What Makes the Great Great? I want you to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb. We all we got, people. Matter of fact, we all we need. And thank God, that's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
New black. It's the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Wall Street with your host. It's time for us. Computer. We encourage you to get out there. All the things you learn at the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Yeah. The New Black Wall Street. The New Black Wall Street Book Club.